Hi guys, just in the car making this video. Got my insomnia with me. I absolutely love insomnia. I'm not sponsored by them, but just recommendation for good cup of coffee if you want one. Today what I just wanted to talk about was something I think is important. So I'm proud to be Irish, right? I am. I think there's a lot of people who aren't. I think there's a lot of people who say they are but don't actually do anything or stand up for the culture. There's a lot of pessimism, a lot of it's somebody else's problem, they'll deal with it rather than me. A lack of accountability is something that I think is huge in Ireland. A lot of people are like, oh, well, somebody else will sort it out, so I don't need to. And if everybody has that attitude, well then, it's kind of like the bystander effect, where you live in a big city and someone gets stabbed and nobody does anything about it. That kind of way. So it's not unique to Ireland, but I do think we have that real sense of apathy, and it's not my problem, it's somebody else's. And I've put myself in situations that did not benefit me, in fact the opposite, but I stood up for the little man. Probably a stupid thing to do, you might say, but that's a sense of pride in my country and not allowing people to act the bollocks, And I've called out Irish people for doing it, you know what I mean? And it's not just a case of all foreigners are bad and all Irish are great. Not at all, and that's what I want to talk about today. Just because you're proud of your culture does not mean that you infringe on the rights of other people. And I hate the fact that those two things seem to go hand in hand. It's like, why can't I be proud to be Irish and treat everyone well? And why can't they respect my culture and treat me well? Like, I was on the bus today, starting back with the Wexford Local Development Group. Really good. I'm looking at getting set up with a job, which is really good. Fingers crossed now that I get it. I'm looking at doing coaching in a sports facility, Wexford. So what that'll mean is I can get back into the workplace. Might find out something interesting, maybe combine my science degree with sports science and all that, because I find those two things absolutely fascinating. So if I could get a job that involves sport and science, then I'd love it. I'd be absolutely over the moon for that. I was on the bus with this, I went down the back, and there's this lad, I think he was Afghan or Pakistani, and nice fella, just said hello, and I said hello. Asked me the time, and then when I was getting off the bus, he said, "Sorry, you forgot your hat, this one here," and he helped me out. And I was kind of like, it kind of just makes me feel every so often when a foreign person does a good deed for me, I kind of feel good, because I'm like, just a reminder that not all of any group are bad, and that's something I really want to hammer home. I don't think all Irish people are good. I don't think all foreign people are bad, It's very common for people to say if they meet an African person and they're a bit of an arsehole, then they tend to go, and I'm guilty of doing this as well, all African people, all black people are bad, which is not the case at all. And you know how I've changed that mindset? By meeting more black people, meeting West Indian people, that is people from Jamaica and, the Caribbean in general. Meeting people from Africa, meeting Irish people who were of African descent. Great friends with a few lads that I played rugby league with that are either of African descent or African and played rugby with us. If you are so close-minded that you never meet anyone from any culture, that's where you become, all black people are bad, all Middle Eastern people are bad, all Indian people are bad, all Chinese people, whatever the group, all Eastern Europeans are bad. I've met a lot of different foreign people. Meeting that lad, he was perfectly pleasant on the bus. There's a young lad, Yazan, who I do the local development group with, who was delighted to see me and told me to sit down beside him. He's a Syrian refugee who is trying to better himself, and it made me feel good, I was kind of happy, and it's kind of like, I felt really bitter and angry, and I don't like the feeling it gives me when I'm there, like, they're all coming in, they all get benefits and we get nothing. That's not the case. Really isn't. The problem is the Irish elites. Let's call it what it is. They don't give a shit about us. They think everybody else is better. They're out for themselves, though, at the end of the day, to line their own pockets, and that's politicians all over the world, sadly. This is not unique to Ireland. Whitewashed, as they're saying, but if you don't meet anyone from a different background, you're going to hate whatever small amount you do meet, you know. And like, let's use an example close to home. Catholics and Protestants in the north of Ireland. I've played rugby with them. I met a lot of really great lads who actually have family members in the UVF, the Ulster Volunteers Force, DUP, the Democratic Unionist Party. Nothing fucking democratic about it. Look at Jeffrey Donaldson making a show of them, and good old Arlene Foster just says no to anything the Catholics want. But there's one lad I played rugby league with, and I got on really well with him. Big fella, like, Nordies are big fuckers. I don't know why Ulster are so physically weak, like the provincial team, because any Ulster team I've ever played in rugby is always enormous. They're always physically fit, ready to smash you, you know. And they really make an effort not to let that shit get in the way, which I'm very impressed with and pleasantly surprised, because it is intimidating going into an area and it's all Union Jacks. You know, you feel like, oh, I need to go where there's all the tricolours. That divides people, and you hear Catholic lads and Protestant lads meeting up. I saw a really good documentary before, and they showed two taxi drivers, one Catholic and one Protestant, and they both used to talk about throwing glass bottles over the peace wall in Belfast. And now they're the best of friends. They meet up for a pint, you know, they chat to each other and they say, what a load of shite that is, isn't it? And one, like, your man has Union Jacks tattooed on him, the other fella has Celtic tattoos and the tricolour. But they're like, what a load of shite this is. And your man that I played with, Curtis, so I won't give his second name, but just say Kurt, we'll call him. And his dad, he said, was in the UVF and is a hateful bastard and wouldn't meet his own kids because he married a Catholic girl. Can you imagine doing that? Like, that's disgraceful. And I was talking before about my heritage, and I have Republican blood from Armagh on one side and Cross McGlen. And every time you say that to anyone from the north, they're like, oh, Jesus. But then I also have Belfast Protestant blood, and because my great-great-grandfather married a Catholic girl, the family disowned them. You think to yourself, if you go around just inherently hating people, you're going to be miserable. And I see it so often now, and I don't really know how it's going to change unless people just open their eyes and meet others. Like, I've worked with loads of different foreign people, and that's how I've met good people. Friends with Romanian people from college, and Hungarian as well. Friends with lads who are half Irish, half Kenyan. Friends with, really good friends actually, with a Ugandan fella, BK, shout out to you, I hope you're well, who was willing to drop everything and drive over just to help me when I was at my worst mentally. You know, my best advice to anyone is to meet as many people from as many walks of life as possible. And how you meet people from as many walks of life as possible is through sport, through work. Make an effort to get to know them, and then they get to know you. Normalise them being there. Like, don't make a deal of, oh, I'm white, you're black, we can't be friends, or, you know, whatever, I'm Catholic, you're Protestant. Can you imagine not wanting to know your own grandkids because their dad married someone of your sworn enemy religion? I don't get it. That level of hate just baffles me. And look, it's easy to say, oh, loads of foreign people coming in, get the hell out of Ireland, send them back, all this stuff. And sometimes that creeps in on me. And then I go, but I don't hate all foreign people. I've met loads of really good foreign people, and I've met loads of really shitty Irish people. Like, if you meet 10 black people, say, for instance, and 2 of them are arseholes, but 8 of them are absolutely sound, well then, would you not think, you know, there can be good and there can be bad, and a majority that I've met are actually good? Which I will say, you know, a majority of anyone really that I've met is good. And as I say, my own people, like my own ethnicity, I've actually been mistreated more by Irish people than anyone else. But then again, that's because I've met more Irish people than anyone else. But does that mean that I hate all Irish people? No, I won't stop being proud of my culture because I've been treated badly by my own countryman. That being said, never let anyone put your culture down. If you're Irish and you're proud of your culture, never let anyone take that away from you. And I can tell you from my experience, most people don't. They actually want to embrace it. It's Irish people not celebrating it and not celebrating all the great stuff that there is. You know, you don't have to stamp it into people, but you have to kind of go and preserve it. You have to make an effort to speak the language, which I try a little bit. You know, little bits of phrases here and there. And it's a beautiful language. If anyone's looking, the TG Cahir girls presenting the weather are really good looking. And I certainly go, geez, they're even more attractive listening to them speaking our native tongue. I'm kind of like, oh, look at that. Couldn't get over that when I went out the west of Ireland, you know, and I was how beautiful the women are out there with the black hair and the blue eyes. Her hair is black and her eyes are blue. It's a real Irish look, which I find very attractive, you know, and I do find our own people are quite attractive. Don't worry, I'm not a representation of all Irish people. I have my certain charms. I know I'm not a looker, but I'm no Brad Pitt, but I have certain qualities, believe me. But I love folklore and hearing about Irish stories and not all the miserable shit like I talk about, you know, like, but at the same time it's important to remember our history. It is actually the anniversary of Remembrance Day. It's an emotional day, you know, and I know it's going to sound weird because it's a Thursday, but it's the 53-year anniversary of Bloody Sunday, and I just want to say a little prayer for everyone who died during that. It was a horrific event, and it's got me thinking, like, when I posted it, I am very proud to be Irish, and I would hate to see my culture eradicated. I don't think that we have to necessarily say kick all foreigners out, though, in order for us to keep our culture. We just have to be proud of it and keep it going, and I think there's a lot of people in Ireland that aren't doing that. Lots of people selling out their culture, thinking, we're all a bunch of miserable thick fuckers anyway, which we're fucking not. And I know not everybody thinks like that. We're not all a bunch of ugly, freckly gobshites who have no education. There's a lot of very attractive, well-educated Irish people. Going through Ireland a lot of times, and I see Irish girls, and I'm like, Jesus, Irish women are very good looking. Irish men aren't bad looking either. Shout out to the fellas. There's better looking Irish men than me, believe me. Me and my brother were joking, saying we got a fucking good bang of the ugly stick. I actually am not that ugly when I'm slim, but being mentally ill and overweight does not help, let me tell you. Staying off the alcohol stops my face bloating as much. Well, see, that's a good thing about us as well. We, I think, more than anyone can take the piss out of ourselves. We're too humble for our own good in many ways. There's lots that I love about Ireland, and I only realise that when I go abroad. You know how easygoing we are, how you can strike up a conversation with a complete stranger over absolute bullshit like nothing. And not just when you're drunk. You can have a laugh with us. We do have our flaws and our downsides, but I think we're a caring bunch, and yeah, it can take us a while to get stuff done because we tend to faff a lot and talk a lot of shit. That's what makes us so funny, is our rants and our raving. Everybody think of Uncle Colum in Derry Girls. I love Uncle Colum. It's just, or was it a Tuesday? But no, I'm not really into the sandwiches myself, but if it were a Sunday, there were men in balaclavas and they wanted to know what I had in the house, and I said, hold on a second now while they chained me to the radio. Or was it a Tuesday? I know, I love Uncle Colum, because everybody has one of them, you know. I think I'll probably be one of them when I'm older. I already fucking am. You know, that gobshite who just doesn't stop ranting. A very Irish trait, let me tell you, and a very lovable one. I'd love to be like Farmer Jim from Brassic. I'm going to do a review on Brassic as well. But yeah, this has me feeling happy. It's a beautiful day out. I've just done something productive. Met a nice, pleasant foreign lad on the bus. Met up with a lad that I really like, get on well with, who was a refugee from Syria. Look, he's trying to better himself. He says Irish people have been nothing but friendly to him. He loves it here and is really grateful that they have accepted him. And that's what we want. That makes me happy seeing stuff like that. just makes me brighter knowing that there's not hate there, you know, and I think we should call out bullshit. If someone's getting abused because they're foreign, that's not right. You should call that out, you know, and I've seen that before and it's not nice. And I don't like seeing my fellow man, my Irish man, doing that to someone. I'm like, that's not on, that's not acceptable. And I'm seeing more and more of that. If you see bullshit, call it out. Right, absolutely. And by anyone. By an Irish person fucking call it out. If it's a foreigner, yeah, as well. But how about you stand up for everyone? You don't just go, oh, all foreigners are bad and all Irish people are great. No, we are great. You know, we are for the most part. There's a few bad eggs, but look, I know we're a great bunch. We don't celebrate all that's good about Ireland enough. That's what we want to be showing people coming over. It's just sad to see that the ones at the top, like the elites in Ireland, are so fucking greedy and corrupt and don't care about keeping our culture. You know, you see it a lot and it's starting to trickle down. It's up to us to keep it alive because they're not going to fucking do it. I know it's not ideal, but we have to do it. And I hope we do. And that's what I'm hoping to do with this channel, if nothing else. Éire done bhua. We're playing England at the weekend, the old nemesis. Oh, but it'll be a good laugh, had. And I can't wait for the Six Nations to start. We named the squad now and say a few interesting selections. Let me know what you think. Ryan Baird at 6. Prendergast starting at 10. Mac Hansen back on the right wing. Ian Henderson, O'Mahony and Murray on the bench. A little nervous now, I have to say. England's bench looks a lot more exciting, but fingers crossed we can get the job done. Éire done bhua, Éire abu, Slán go fóill.